Hello, everyone. How's everyone doing? Good afternoon. Uh, we had a couple of technical difficulties. We wanted to go live at exactly 2 p.m., but uh, yeah, things happen. But we're glad we are now live. Before we start, I'd like to, you know, have a feel of those who are tuning in right now. Can you help us by commenting down below and tell us where you are watching from? So we'll be starting, well, in a few minutes. We'll be starting in a few minutes, just waiting for other people to tune in. So welcome to the first ever Spark conversation. So it's going to be our first time, so please bear with us as we feel out how to do this live stream thing. But we're very, very happy to be doing this afternoon. In fact, we also have a special guest. Also have happy to have her with us today. So yeah, let us just do some things. Wait a minute. And then we'll start. Okay. Okay. All right. So again, welcome and good afternoon. My name is Patch Dulay. I am the founder and CEO of the sparkproject.com, the Philippines' only crowdfunding website and community for creative and conscious enterprises. So this afternoon, we're happy to launch our first episode of Spark Conversations. So what is Spark Conversations? It's a show for entrepreneurs who see entrepreneurship differently. It's for creative and conscious individuals who are driven to find a way to make money while doing good. It's for people who have chosen a path of purpose and a life's work that creates sustainable and meaningful impact in the world. It's also for supporters of local talent and conscious consumers who believe that collectively our mindful choices can make a big difference. So for Spark Conversations here, we pick the brains of social entrepreneurs, creators, innovators, and startup founders as they share about their life's work and, of course, what sparks them. So we just don't want to talk to ourselves during Spark Conversation. We want to hear from you throughout the show. So don't just listen in. You can make your presence felt through your comments and reactions. You can ask questions and share insights. And if you like what we're talking about at any given time, feel free to click on the like button. It would help us feel that we're not just talking to ourselves, or the heart reaction if you love it. So our conversation for today, we have with us Kylie Misa, the co-founder of WVN Home Textiles. She has been a friend of the Spark Project since 2016 and also a Spark Project alumni. So we're so glad to have her here with us and catch up with her during this lockdown. So let me bring in Kylie to the screen. Kylie. Hello, Kylie. Are you there? Ah,
Hi everyone.
so
Can you
great.
hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Oh my gosh,
Awesome.
that was
We
close.
did it.
Yeah, that was close. We were doing pre-prod before we actually went live, and when it was time to go live, we had a hard time really streaming this online. So now that we're here live streaming, we're just so happy to just make it here. So hi Kylie, how are you doing?
Hi Patch.
How are you doing? How have you
Hi
been?
everyone, by the way.
How have you been since the
um
lockdown?
I've I've been okay. Like surprisingly busy. We aside from the usual, we try to make things business as usual still. Like we constantly communicate, me and my business partner, with our partner artisan communities, to check up on them and to see how they're doing. Aside from that, they're also, because they work from home, so it's easy for them to continue production. Although the hardest part about it for us, at least, is because we work with rural artisan communities, logistics would be a big issue,
Mm-hmm,
especially because
mm-hmm.
Manila is still pretty much on
Right.
lockdown. Although a little bit, I guess, eased up, but the flow of goods is still pretty hard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But personally, I've been volunteering with the Office of the Vice President. So, I just want to, like, I don't know, I have this feeling like for the first month, it felt like, like the transition period. But I don't know, I just felt like I needed to do something. I didn't want to feel helpless. And I wanted to sort of like, I just wanted to help
Mm-hmm.
because I know that I can, I was capable, I'm healthy. So, yeah, a lot of
Yeah, I
work
was
has
about to
been
ask
done.
you. Yeah, I was about to ask you outside of Oven, like if you've been volunteering. Yeah, I see some of your posts that you have, or yeah, I've seen some of your posts talking about that you've been volunteering, and that's great, you know. But for the sake of the other people who are tuning in or not familiar with Oven, because you've been a friend of Spark since, you know, it's
For a
2016, and you've
while.
been hosted. Yeah, you hosted some of our events as well.
Oh, that's
Tell us
true.
more.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, right. So tell us more about Woven and why you sparked it.
All right. So Woven Home Textiles, it started out as a passion project with me and my business partner. We were juggling our jobs at that time. I had a job in Singapore. I would go back and forth, Singapore, Manila often. And it just felt like, it was a good job. I just felt like I wanted to do something impactful. And like I was searching for meaning at that time. And my business partner, who happens to be a friend, who's actually a friend of mine and a former teammate, because I used to play football for Ateneo before, so she was a teammate in Ateneo. Um, yeah, we just started talking and we decided to. I told her about some, like, an experience I had in Spain, because before my job, I was taking my master's there, and I found this amazing Turkish towel that my friends were using at the beach, and I thought to myself, why don't we have this when in the Philippines it's always summer, parang ganun, di ba?
Mm-hmm,
Parang
mm-hmm,
we're always on the beach, so how come I've never seen this before? At least that time, that was in 2013. And yeah, so it got me curious about weaving, because Turkish towels initially was like really hand woven, until now, I think. But I think there's a lot more manufacturing going on in Turkey. But yeah, so it got me interested in weaving, and my curiosity brought me to Bangar, La Union. I talked to the Philippine Textile Research Institute to find out where the nearest weaving community was, just to see, to scratch that itch in a way. Like, I was just really curious, and I brought with me my now business partner to a road trip. And when we got to the weavers, in fact, we were even lost. We didn't know exactly where. There was just a pin on Waze, and we followed it. Like, we didn't know what to expect, really. And when we got there, we found these little houses that had like signs that said like weaving house, something like that, like the name of
mm-hmm.
the family that owns it, and then weaving, ganon. So yeah, that's how we discovered the weavers little by little. And what really moved us to start Woven Home Textiles is, of course, first and foremost, we saw that the weaves were fantastic, beautiful. Like, we were at awe by even just the process alone, but also the output. Aside from that, it sort of fit well with the product that we had in mind, which was a towel. Our primary product was a towel. And lastly, like, what really really made us want to do it is was the weaver. There was one weaver we were talking to. We were just sitting around with them, just telling stories, talking about us. They were curious about us, and we were also curious about them. And they just told us that, like, it's a good thing you came now, because maybe in 10 years this won't be around anymore. So we were shocked by what they said, and basically nobody from the younger generation wants to continue weaving, and that's the thing that we sort of want to address with Woven Home Textiles. We want to keep the craft alive. And since then, we've also started working with other communities that's outside of La Union. We now work with community in Cavite, and also now in Albay. So we're moving into like more than actually just weaving. We're moving into like craftsmanship, like because we work with abaka, and not all abaka is hand woven. Although there are crafters that weave abaka, like handloom weave, but there are like abaka crocheters. They manipulate it by hand. So what we really want to do is really like show like the talent of Filipinos, like the handmade sort of talent of our fellow kababayans, and just be proud of it. And our goal really is to go out, showcase it in the international space. And yeah, also we're also like we're also now sort of like getting there internationally.
That's great.
I mean, like slowly, like we have some clients there. We are now also being mentored through the Eunice and Youth program. It's like a social business accelerator. And yeah, that's also something we're busy with, because we have mentorships going on for that. And it's helping us sort of like get to hopefully another level and another sort of market. Although, sorry, just before anything, we're not leaving like the Philippine market. We just want to expand and to showcase, really. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's nice to know, because you did start 2016. You launched your brand in 2016. Is that right? Or like even before that? Kylie, are you
Okay.
there?
I think I'm sorry. I
Yes.
think it's delayed.
Okay. So,
Can you repeat
um,
that?
yeah. So, Kylie, it's nice to see, or it's like to hear that you are growing and scaling. But just like to backtrack a bit, you started around 2016, right?
Sorry. I hope
Was
it's
that
not me,
2000?
or I hope it's
Can
better.
you hear me? Can you hear me, Kai? Kai, are you there? So, Kylie, I remember when I met you and Yvette, your co-founder, you wanted to crowdfund, right? So that's something that you were looking to pursue in launching your brand. So can you tell us a bit about how your crowdfunding experience was like? Okay, so it looks like we've lost Kylie. But sige, let's wait for her to come back in our stream. Uh, and for now, while we're waiting for her, siguro I'll share about the Spark project. No, so the Spark project, we are a crowdfunding website and community for creative and conscious enterprises. And we started way back in 2013, and we have made it our mission to enable enterprises, entrepreneurs, Filipino entrepreneurs to be exact, because we feel like there are a lot of, like, the Philippines is very rich with local talent, and we also have a lot of entrepreneurial talent who want to start things. And we felt like with the richness of the things of the talent that we have your artisans, shoemakers, bag makers, and all these different talents, even musicians, authors, filmmakers. We wanted to have that play that role in helping enable these entrepreneurs. So it's about talent building on talent, having entrepreneurial talent build on the talent that's really found everywhere here in the Philippines. So just like Kylie, who wanted to work with, who've seen the beauty of the weaves that we have here in our country, we wanted to work with her and help her, pursue that entrepreneurial dream of creating woven home textiles. So I think Kylie is already back. So we'll just bring her back in. Okay. So I've been ad libbing. I've been like
Sorry.
filling in people. I've been
I
filling in
don't know.
people
I'm so sorry.
with what we do at Spark Project. Actually, tama lang
Yeah.
because
Yeah. Okay.
I was
Good.
talking about Spark Project and why we started it and how we wanted to enable entrepreneurs like you who wanted to build on talent, like with your story of going to Bangar La Union and being inspired by the weaves and seeing what you can do with that. Was something that for us, Spark Project was something that we felt like you really had to pursue and we really wanted you to do that. And which brings us to your crowdfunding experience. So I think that was in
Yeah.
2016, right? We met and you kind of shared with me. You and Yvette, we had that meeting and you were sharing about like your
Yeah.
experience and like you wanting to launch this brand called Woven, and you wanted to explore how crowdfunding can help you launch that brand. So now that that was how many years
Oh
ago?
my God.
Four,
Yeah.
3.5 years ago. Um, how can you take us back into that crowdfunding experience? Like first, like why did you um, think, or why did you choose crowdfunding as a way to launch your brand? And how was it like
Right.
crowdfunding it?
Yeah. So Spark, from the very beginning of Woven Home Textiles, Spark was one of our parang like a big supporter of ours, and we're super thankful for that. And the reason why we wanted to spark or to crowdfund was at that time we were really small. Like we nobody really knew about us. It was really a passion project. Um,
Mhm.
and um, we wanted to crowdfund first of all because I guess we were small nga, and we didn't have like we started out, and even until now it's still like a bootstrapping. You know what I mean? Like we're a bootstrap um, company. Now we're a corporation. Actually, we're incorporated, but yeah, like we used our own money. We didn't ask for any investments, like not even from our parents.
Mhm.
We really tried to keep it as like manageable as possible because, as I said before, this became a business. It was a passion project. So we were thinking of ways to sort of like how do we start sort of like building on this and make like having momentum and like really like sparking our first designs, because if you recall that was like the first time we ever sort of like had our own designs for woven. Before kasi we were using we just used the products that they had and sort of like parang made something out of it. But when we started that Spark project campaign, it was really like us co-creating na with our partner artisans. At that time, they really didn't. They also there was a trust. There was still that relationship building going on, and we were only working with them for like 4 months, palang I think that time. So
Mhm.
they didn't know who we were, and parang by us doing that helped us really like flex our creative muscles, but also work with them more closely. And yeah, after that, the rest was history. Because really, Patch, like it helped. The crowdfunding. It was a reward crowdfunding where there were so many tiers. Actually, like I think there were like 4 tiers, and like
Mhm.
you can buy like 500 pesos was like one smaller sarong towel, and then I don't recall the other tiers, but the other one was like one big blanket towel. The other one was like a two big blanket towels, and then the last one I think was like four big blanket towels. So parang we did
Mhm.
a pre-selling of it,
Yeah.
and it went so well. We exceeded our target amount. If
How
I'm
much
not
were you able to raise,
mistaken,
during that time, during your campaign?
um, it was 135,000 our goal, but we
Okay.
raised 236,350. So like
Okay,
around
like 100
100K more.
more than what you
Yeah.
expect, like
Yeah,
200%.
it was
Or like 100,
overwhelming.
yeah.
It was overwhelming. Yeah, like
And
it
how,
was
yeah, how was that?
um
Like, how was that for you? Like, seeing that, okay, it started out as a passion project, and then you put it out there, and then like you saw people
yeah.
supporting it. How was it like you being like a first? It was this your
Mm,
first business when you, when or
yeah, it
so
is.
like how is it like being a first timer aspiring entrepreneur, seeing that kind of support from people?
To be honest, I was pretty scared because it was my first time really like I wouldn't at that time I wouldn't have thought I'd be an entrepreneur because I had, my career path was in at that time consultancy. I was in strategic communications. And yeah, so it was a bit scary for me, but the reception was so welcoming. It felt like it was a great validation of the product. Um, and like it validated a lot of things: positioning, the product, the pricing, and also like it helped us understand also like the audience. I mean, not audience, sorry, the market. Like kunyari, which segment of the market would embrace it more than others, let's say, and parang what people were looking for as well,
Mhm.
and would people use it. So I'm super super happy actually, because during this lockdown, the people I've seen, especially those who I are their my friends or people that I've met through the crowdfunding, I see some people using the towels that we sparked
Mhm.
in different, like they use it for yoga or workout or in the beach. It's just so nice until now. Like people really still use it. So
Mhm.
yeah, it's just yeah. So there, it helped validate everything, and it helped us build a community. Also, I think that's one thing that not a lot of people, I guess, like understand until they get there. Na
Mhm.
it's the people who support you, who put their money in you, even though it's not like investors, diba, where it's
Right.
equity. Um, in a way, it's like they're wishing you luck,
Mhm.
like by their support,
They really want you to
you are
succeed. They
able
want you to
to,
pursue it.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and they really are genuine about it. Like I think for a while, like I always, in the beginning, because it starts when you crowdfund, it's the parang first 10% or 15% or your network lang,
Mhm.
your family and friends, diba? Um, so at first it was like I thought like, oh, they're just doing it because I'm their I'm their
Mhm.
sister or daughter or niece or something. But when it started building up, I was like, oh, okay, so it's actually like it's actually like a good product. Because at that time, I had no idea. There was no way to validate it.
Yeah. Kylie, like when I see your Instagram posts or like Woven's Instagram page and like Facebook page, like it looked like your collaterals look so pretty and it looks so well put
Thank
together.
you.
But has it always been that way? Like in terms of like this building and growing the business, does it kind of like reflect what's on your Instagram page, or it's totally different?
Um, well, building the business is definitely hard work. I mean, like we put a lot of product posts there. We also try to expose people to the realities of weaving.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of posts about the weavers that we work with, and we also do a lot of like Instagram stories, which aren't really on the post because they're not permanent. But we try to let people get the into our world in a way. We try as much as we can. Not much about the founders and our struggles,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, it was a struggle, I have to say. Like first of all, our partner communities are far away. So the nearest one is around 2.5 hours away from QC, or 2 hours away from QC on a good day.
Mm-hmm.
The other, our primary one is 6 hours away, or 4 hours away pala, 4 to 5 to 6 hours away from Metro Manila. So
Like,
yeah, there's a lot of traveling. There's a lot of like really like slugging it out. It definitely wasn't like there were a lot of uncomfortable moments, of course, because of the usual entrepreneurship journey.
Yeah.
As I said, we bootstrapped, so
Mhm.
we really had to make do with the money that we had, and a lot of it also, like, I have to say, like, there's a lot of goodwill that goes around, and I'm very
Mhm.
thankful for people who see the purpose of what we're doing, and they um, volunteer to help, maybe not for free, but like for like a discount or parang in kind ganon. So we're very thankful for everyone talaga who has been supportive, either by pledging, by buying, by promoting, and by supporting emotionally.
Sure. So, Kylie, what's the most like you've had an interesting journey, growing Woven. Siguro of all the many things that you've been through, you and Yvette, what would be one of the most, I think, like one of the most important lesson that you've learned during this time of sparking and scaling Woven?
Wow, there's
There's
so
one
many
lang. I mean, of
lessons.
course, there are a lot of like life lessons, even business lessons. Siguro
Gosh.
if there's
Okay.
one thing that you can share this after, like, okay, striking and
Yeah.
something that
Yeah.
would really stuck with you, what would that be?
For me, it's about finding your purpose.
Okay.
I started Woven Home Textiles as a passion project, but at that time, I was searching for something meaningful that I wanted to do. It was at that time na parang medyo quarter life crisis. Na parang I had a good job. I was good at what I was doing. But there was just something more I was looking for, and that's what I was trying to search for. And with Woven Home, I that I found it there. I didn't expect to find it there. I didn't know it was sort of like going to be my calling,
Mm-hmm.
but looking back now, it's really the journey. Really is the one that will, um, you'll find out your why if you can stick it out through that journey. You'll find out if that's really something that you're really committed to do,
Parang
because
test of time din
you
siya
know,
eh. Like over time,
yeah,
you will always find your why or like your purpose of pursuing your business, your conscious enterprise will always be kind of tested. And then that's when you make and it's through those crises like you get to
yeah,
refine it. Actually, speaking of crisis,
true.
speaking of crisis, so you've had like say how old is Woven now? 4 years? Tama ba?
Almost
Almost
4 years.
almost four
Yeah,
years.
my gosh.
And then COVID happened, right? So now like the past month has been tough, not just for a lot of not just for like different businesses, but even also small and micro and small
For
enterprises, even
sure.
social enterprises, um, are badly affected by this crisis. So how for you, how has Woven been affected by COVID, and how are you coping as a founder, and as a business during this situation?
So yeah, the coronavirus has really, challenged a lot of businesses, not just small but also big, but especially the small businesses. It really exposed a lot of things that was wrong in the system, in society, and we're definitely not. We can't say we're definitely affected. We're not unscathed. Um, but thankfully, the thing that we're most thankful for is our partner artisans come from parang that age group that's most at risk. In La Union, our partner artisans, the average age is around 53, if I'm not mistaken, or 59. I forget, sorry, but
Mm-hmm.
around that age. And yeah, so it's a bit scary lang kasi of course the coronavirus doesn't really choose, they don't, it's unbiased. It can really affect
With
anyone, right? But
anyone. Yeah.
especially for that age group. Yeah, and yeah, so a lot of them are pretty old na.
Mm-hmm.
But thankfully, we contact them every week. My business partner Yvette is very diligent at really like doing that and finding out their needs, finding out what their situation's like, and we're just thankful that they are not sick. So far, there's not been any reports of them being sick and they're home and they're trying to understand that social distancing. I can understand now also like why it's such a difficult concept, because as Filipinos we really like to, we're very close knit
Mm-hmm.
and very filial.
Yeah.
So yeah, we like visiting other people's houses. We like congregating. So it was just hard for them to understand that. And from the very beginning, when the lockdown happened, we decided to send them information packs, parang to just help them understand what it is, what you need to do. We didn't know how to send them anything at that time. That was like early March,
Mm-hmm.
because everything was just locked. Nobody knew what was happening at that time, and everyone was paralyzed.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, so we were evaluating what we could do at that time, and maybe by end of March or before the end of March, we found a distributor of soap um, in the Ilocos area,
Yeah.
and we found a way to send soap to them,
Okay.
um, because yeah, it was like for us it was like preventive measures, because we were thinking, oh, do they need food, do they need, we were wondering about the needs, but they told us through the feedback that they were still fine. It's just that yun, parang it was like we wanted them to wear masks,
Mm-hmm.
to just really like, we just didn't want anything bad to happen,
Yeah.
because at that time it was everyone was still okay. Until
Yeah.
now, everyone is okay actually,
So looking at
thankfully.
so one of the things that you did first is like really look after their welfare, look after their health. But for the
Yes,
business
it's our
naman,
number one asset actually.
yeah, for the business naman, like are you back in business? Are you selling now, or
Mm,
like how has it impacted? How has the crisis impacted the business?
huh. Well, yeah, there's a lot of impact on the sales for sure. Consumer
Mhm.
demand has significantly dipped.
Mhm.
And we knew that was gonna happen.
Yeah.
We were bracing for it already, especially when, because we don't just sell online. We also sell in Rustans, Makati, in their home section. We sell in Frankie and Friends right now. There's a pop-up in Rockwell. We also have partners, like retailers in the different islands for mga beachside boutique stores, ganon. So yeah, when we knew they were going to close down, and so we didn't know how to operate also, because our products are considered non-essential. They're not food. They're
Yeah.
not medicine.
Yeah.
So yeah, we decided, okay, we'll just halt the selling, because we didn't want also to, we didn't want any non-essential consumption. Also, I mean, like, first of all, we deliver through Lala Move and Grab, and kawawa din yung mga drivers also, 'di ba, na
Mhm. Yeah.
when parang the especially my business partner, she was saying that she was really telling me like how important it is to protect everyone,
Mhm.
even though they're not even part of like they're part of a supply chain, but we don't really like, you know, employ them, the
Right.
drivers, but we really want to just make sure that we're responsible.
Mhm.
So yeah, and it was hard in the beginning, but now we see like seasonal things
Mhm.
happening. Like it's already 2 months,
Too
past two
much.
months
Yeah.
since the lockdown. And yeah, like during Mother's Day, we sold a few things because people, still wanted, I guess, to, to show their mom that they love them, and we took a we um parang promoted a few things. Aside from that, abroad also there's been some movement. So yeah, there were some purchases that we got from abroad because the ano here, parang the situation here is definitely not the same as the situation abroad.
Mhm.
And even consumption, patterns, stuff like that. So yeah, we're
Yeah.
still writing it out and seeing how
Yeah.
we
I mean, like,
can
you're not alone
this
there.
responsibly.
Yeah. Like, even like with Spark Project, of course, uh, like even our network, like our community of enterprises, like during the start of the quarantine, we checked in on them and see how they were doing. And we've seen, and most of the entrepreneurs in our network in the community of Spark are, most of them are non-essential businesses who work closely with artisans. And yeah, we've seen that trend, or like that common thread between enterprises, that one is, first and foremost, their communities are of top priority. The wellness and the security of these communities are important. But at the same time, like as a business, they have to make the tough decisions, or the tough decision to maybe pause their business for a while and focus on the welfare of their communities, but also find ways on how they can cope during this crisis. There are actually two things that we've, like when we were talking to these entrepreneurs, we figured we've identified like two main themes that we've noticed. One is that, of course, these social enterprises, these creative and conscious enterprises, since they're small businesses, in terms of runway, also in terms of being liquid, as financially, it's only a matter of like months or even weeks for them to, kind of like, badly put, like close shop or be in a danger zone position. So
Yeah.
it's a concern. So these businesses really need to find a way to, inject some cash just so it could go around.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the consumers also, the supporters, that the friends, families, the supporters of these brands are also looking for a way to, are aware that small businesses are, in a vulnerable position as well, and they're looking for ways on how they can support them. So parang with those two insights that we got, us at the kami sa Spark Project, we're thinking of like, how can we react, or how can we um, find a way to support our community of enterprises. And that's where, Spark
Mhm.
Bayanihan, came about. Actually, in other countries, in the States,
Yeah.
there were other crowdfunding sites, or even like groups are looking for ways to, how can we revive, or actually first, how can we help these local enterprises survive during this time and rehabilitate even after. So for us, like, okay, as Spark Project, we have this platform that does crowdfunding. Maybe, before, pre-COVID, we use that as a means for enterprises like yours to start their business and spark their business. But now, like, how can we help these enterprises, survive? So we thought of using crowdfunding as a tool, and to be a medium for these enterprises to kind of, to raise money for the enterprises, and also for the communities that they support. And we acknowledge the
Yeah,
fact
that's
that,
such a good initiative. Yeah.
yeah, and we acknowledge also the fact that a lot of these enterprises are small enterprises, also have communities that they support, diba? They're not just like, okay, we have a business and we need to survive,
Yeah.
but we also have to look after these communities that also rely on us for livelihood. So para, how can we be able
Yeah.
to help them and help them survive?
Yes.
The artisans, the nanays, the weavers that you work with. So, and so that's what we thought of, like, okay, let's do an initiative called Spark Bayanihan. And us, we started fielding it out to different entrepreneurs in our network, in our community. And Kylie was one of the enterprises that we reached out to. So we sent them an email, and then we pitched to them the idea of like, okay, would you like to, explore how crowdfunding, you can make use of crowdfunding to be able to kind of like revive, or like, no, actually more like help your business and your community survive during this time. So like, how was that for you when you reached out? I mean, like, was that something that you were thinking about, or was that something that was, an idea? Of course, during
Mhm.
that time, like, okay, what can we do? What can we do? Was
Yeah.
crowdfunding like
Yeah.
something that you thought about doing?
Well, we were at that time, we didn't know what was going on yet. I think that was like early April.
Mhm.
I think that was early April, yeah. So we didn't know what was going on yet. People were still scrambling. Everyone was just scrambling until now. People are still scrambling. But now at least parang we understand na parang there's a, like a latency period, where a transition period where you have to see what's going on. And so now, like,
Yeah,
especially for our communities, we had to see also what their needs were. We didn't want to give, like, parang we wanted, because we know this is for the long run, this crisis.
yeah,
It's not just, if we know, like COVID, we don't even know how long it's going to stay in our lives. We don't know what the economic impact is going to be, or how long. So we knew that it would be like a long road ahead. And the first thing that we were concerned about was, how do we ensure their health, our
okay,
partner artisans? That was our number one. To be honest, like, um, we were okay with like pausing the sales, the retail
yeah,
part, which we did. Although of course we need to sort of reignite that na, as we go along. But at the same time, but like, importantly, we were really looking at, yeah, like protecting our partner artisans. And it was just hard. We felt so helpless because
mhm,
we're just so far away from them. That's one of the things that we had a challenge with, because we couldn't, well, we're on lockdown, so we really couldn't see them. But it's just the distance. And yeah, so it wasn't, crowdfunding wasn't exactly like what we were looking at. But when the opportunity was presented to us, it felt like, okay, like, parang we had to think about it. Of course, we did a lot of consulting. Actually, we consulted with our partner artisans to see if, crowdfunding, like health or nutrition kits, would be something that they would need. And we also talked to several health experts. We talked to several, Dr. Sabario,
yeah.
Dr. Para Sabario. We talked to Mesani Mises, who is also one of our partners. She's like a nonprofit that works with mga nanays, and she also teaches them about like the benefits of eating local greens, local vegetables, and
So right
including it in
now,
their diet. So, diba, it made a lot of sense for us to
yeah.
talk to them.
So right now, Kylie, you are crowdfunding now, no, at the Spark project. So it's like your second, like your crowdfunding this
Yes,
time
yeah,
around for
yeah.
nutrition kits.
Version 2.
Yeah, version two, COVID
Yeah,
efforts, right? So it's actually live now at the
yeah.
sparkproject.com. Can you share with us like what you mentioned it a while ago, the kind of what the project is all about, what's it for, and for those
Mm-hmm.
who will be contributing and helping out in your project, backing your project, what kind of things are in store for them?
Right. Okay. So very happy to announce, although we did already make some announcements, but we just want to keep promoting this amazing initiative by the Spark Project to help SMEs, especially like social enterprises like us, to help us help our communities. And that's the main reason why we are crowdfunding. We want to provide nutrition kits for our partner artisan communities in La Union, in Albay, and in Cavite. Because for us, their health is the like one of the most important things that in it's not just because of it's there are assets because everything's handmade, but without them, really, we would be nothing. Without our partner artisans, WVN Home would just be a concept. So that's why we really put their health as our as an
Right.
asset to us too. Um, and of course, because we care for them, we go there every month actually, Patch, to La Union. So it's so weird also not being there with them right now, and
Mhm.
like for us not knowing when we'll see them next actually. But anyway, the nutrition kits are hope to address short to long term nutrition needs. So we included food packs. So just for immediate needs, like of course they need to feed them. We included turmeric powder because it has anti-inflammatory properties. It's an antioxidant.
Yeah,
It
it boosts the immune
really
system.
it boosts immunity, exactly. And anti-inflammatory is good because especially for people who work with their hands and who probably have arthritis, it's really good for them too. So that's why it was turmeric that we chose. And then we also included seeds for long term. So parang so that they can help themselves grow plants that are nutritious, but also plants that can help them make natural remedies. Like, for example, I found out from a friend of mine who's a doctor to the barrio that oregano, local oregano, apparently we have native oregano. It's very good for respiratory system. So we included oregano, we included mga leafy greens in there, like local leafy greens like kangkong, and yun, we included seeds there just so that parang if we can't, also like we don't know how long this whole
Mhm.
lockdown will take. So,
Mhm.
we don't know when we're going to send anything next also. So at
Yeah.
least if they're not planting anything, or if the plants that they have at home are not for, like, parang we just want it to be specific for nutrition and health, and especially respiratory health. Yeah.
So to those who will be supporting the campaign, or like giving donations and contributions, pledges to your crowdfunding campaign, as a backer, like what I am assured that the money is something that would really help towards that, the nutrition. But also, what's cool
Yeah.
about crowdfunding is that it also gives them a way to, or woven to creatively reward or like thank the backers that support the brand and the
Yeah.
community. So
Yeah.
um, in your crowdfunding campaign right now, you are giving out thank you gift certificates, right, to your backers. Is that right?
Yeah. So what I really love about crowdfunding actually, and it takes a while to understand, I guess, because when people think of crowdfunding, they think of donations. And to be, I told you this last week, no, Patch. There was even someone who asked me about equity before on our first crowdfunding
Mm,
campaign. Asking me if he gives money, how much percent will he have in my, in the business.
right.
And what I really like about crowdfunding is there are different types of crowdfunding. This is a
Mm,
reward crowdfunding. So there's donate the patch, there's donation crowdfunding, there's
donations.
also equity.
There's lending,
But
and
this
there's
one in
also
particular
reward.
is, yeah, yeah, and this one in particular is reward, right? And what this means is like the money that you go to that you give us not only goes to the nutrition kits for the partner artisan communities, but also you get something back in
Mhm,
return. And because we are logistically also we're having a hard
mhm,
time with woven, and parang the retail part is still a bit impaired now,
mhm.
we're giving out
Yeah,
digital gift certificates.
that they
So
can
what's
use in
what's
the
so nice
future.
about that. Yes, exactly. So people can actually use it now with whatever inventory we have at the moment. But
Mhm.
also, you can use it in the future, or you can also give it to someone as a gift.
Ah,
So
yeah,
it's one like a I think that was like the best, diba?
yeah.
It's like the best
It's like
sort
a
of
gift. It's a
scenario
gift that keeps
for
on
us,
giving.
especially. Yeah. Yes.
So for those who
Yeah.
aren't
So that's
familiar with the
ano,
types of products that you have, uh, can you
yeah.
show us, or like I don't know if you have there lying around like some woven home products
Yeah.
that you can
Yeah.
uh, show and tell.
Yeah. So, well, I only have a few right now. But let me just show you what I have. Behind me is well, this one is a bit exclusive. We were going to reproduce this actually in June,
Mhm.
but because of
Dissolved.
COVID, we had a hard time. But yeah, but this is one of our throws from. It's actually a towel, but it's so versatile. We collaborated with Marilyn Montenegro. She's an interior designer and interior stylist, and it was last year's mid-year collection because we work in collections. Um, and yeah, so it's a towel that you can turn into a throw.
So,
You can you can even like use it for like a if it's aircon in your place.
mhm.
It's nice to just like it's very comfy and it's soft. Aside from that, behind me also, it's like I'm pulling out like from a rabbit from a hat, right? um well, this is from our holiday collection in
Wow, that's
2018.
nice.
It's one of our it's one of our
Pillow cover.
throw pillow covers. Yeah.
Mhm.
We use this from from scrap blankets actually, because there was a time where we did a lot of cuttings. Now we're a bit more efficient when it comes to designing our stuff. So we have less cuttings from the fabric because of course you want to utilize 100% of the fabric, right? Because it's handmade.
Mhm.
But yeah, so we use the cuttings from our from blankets that we had cut,
For
and we
for
made
for
that pillow
those
over there.
where what weaving community um made
Oh, well,
those
these are La
items. No,
Union.
no.
Actually, I have like a dining, like a placemat over there, but I have to grab it far pa. But I have a dining. I love that dining set. Actually, the dining set that we
Mhm,
had made with Marilyn also was it was nice because we used scrap fabric.
mhm,
And we taught the weavers in Cavite to do like freestyle weaving, but also to there were these like cute tassels that we also taught them how to do. So a lot of
mhm,
how we work with our communities is really like,
mhm.
it's not just we learn from each other. So
Yeah.
we also taught them how
So
to weave
those
some
are
a different
things.
style.
So guys, so those are things that they can use, or like use their GCs with, no? Like
Yeah, as an example,
as an
yeah.
example.
Yeah, our some of our yeah, because the inventory that we have now, at least because
Uh,
of this whole
uh
situation, it's a bit different from what I have at the
right.
moment. But they can find us on Instagram, on Facebook, but we're also on Etsy now.
Okay.
We haven't really actually officially said that or like launched that, but yay, surprise! We're
You have
on
an Etsy
Etsy
store now.
already.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah. We're
Going.
also now that Frankie and Friends, also one of our retail partners, is now opening up again the pop up in Rockwell. We're in the Rockwell pop up, but they're also online, so you can also check it out online too.
Okay.
Frankie and Friends.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
great.
but yeah, these are just some of the examples of what
Okay.
they can buy with their GC.
Okay, so yeah, that's great. So as we wrap up, so it's almost an hour. As we wrap up, I'd like to ask you one thing. Siyempre, right now, even like with Spark Bayanihan, or like even the other initiatives, like we're now really shedding some light on how, small, micro and small local enterprises who even work closely with a lot of our artisans are, are surviving at the moment. And for us to be able to survive during this time, like it's important for us to be conscious consumers. It's important for us to show some support for our local businesses. And so I think I just want to ask your opinion on this. Like, why do you think now, more than ever, being a conscious consumer is important. And if you're an entrepreneur, being a conscious enterprise is also, you know, important.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I feel so strongly about this topic because it's something that a lot of the people in the parang sustainability or social enterprise world has been talking about before COVID. And now, because of COVID, it's really shedding so much light on all the inequality, the the gaps in the system, in the structure, and like I think that's what the beauty of social enterprises are, is that we try, each social enterprise is different. They're going to try to address an issue that needs needs awareness, and exposure. And for us, it's really about keeping local traditions alive. And it's not just a tradition, it's also the local economy is alive,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Because without the craft, in because a lot of the weavers, they that's the only thing that they do.
Hmm.
So yeah, it just helps local economies. And I feel now more than ever, we cannot afford to not be conscious consumers. We really need to pull together as a community, and do the utmost for those in need. Because as I said, like because of the coronavirus nga, like it showed us that if you're protectionist, if you only protect yourself and your family, parang, but everyone else is not doing well, 'di ba? Parang if they aren't doing well, you're not doing well. You're right.
Yeah.
It's
So we're
like
all
it's a virus.
interconnected that
It
way.
can
Yeah.
spread. Yeah. And so if so let's say, like talking about like doing well, like not as a sickness or health, but even like kunyari prosperity or wealth, or just like parang your status. Parang we can't be blind to the people in the periphery, right?
Right.
And we need now more than ever. It shows us that we need to help each other in order for all of us to survive. It can't just be about us. And just a little bit on supporting SMEs, by the way. I think now a lot of people now appreciate the integral role that SMEs or like local businesses play, because now everyone's buying from, especially let's say like food. It's so obvious, it's so evident in the food businesses that
Hmm.
people are just buying from each other, from like their local, from their proximity, from people they know. What I love now also is like people now are supporting communities of farmers.
Hmm.
So like some subdivisions, for example, will adopt like a farming community where the farmers will provide for them their produce. And what I love about it is that before we were so there was such a system of traders, diba, or like distributors. Now everything is direct, which I think is amazing, and I think we need to continue doing that, supporting local, our local economy. They're part of the fabric of society that contributes towards our economic system, ecosystem, and
Hmm. Yeah.
they
Agree.
also provide a sense of community.
Hmm.
So collectively, our consumerism, although of course it has to be responsible, right? It has there's so much power in it, um, and I think in a way, like because we feel helpless, like our consumption is something that um, is our only the only power left in a way.
Hmm.
So use it properly, use it responsibly, and use it, diba, consciously for those who especially are in need.
Yeah. What a fitting end to our conversation.
Told you I
But
had a
yeah,
lot to say.
totally agree with what you said. Na, like really now more than ever, we really need to raise the consciousness of people. And because we are actually, I think like this crisis has really in a way forced us to look inside to like see what's in our country, because of course we don't have like any choice to like import and export. But even in a
Yeah.
hyper local situation, like what's in our backyard or what's in our barangay or community, and support that local
Mm.
economy there. Because if we really want to like get past this or like survive during this time, we really need to really like support each other on an economic standpoint. Like
Band together, yeah.
no, economic empowered. We have to, like, even in our condo where I live, like there's like people buying and selling here, and because proximity wise, lang din naman talaga yung ano. That's we're limited
Yeah,
also
no
to
one
your
wants to go out
cafeteria.
also.
So, but it also shows that, by having that ecosystem, like supporting each other, we get to, circulate, and like we all survive that way, and that's how interconnected we are. And that goes also for local businesses who are working with different communities. And the more conscious you are, like as a consumer, the more that you're mindful, like, okay, my purchase has the power to even feed, to kind of revive the economy, but at the same time feed, or provide livelihood to communities in the grassroots. I mean, like, that's such a powerful
Mhm.
purchase, or that's such a powerful thing to do. So
Yeah,
yeah, that's,
yeah.
yeah, ang galing. So that's, yeah, we're an hour. We've been talking for an hour. That's all the time for today.
Wow,
Um,
sakto.
yeah. But yeah, so before we end, of course, like, thank you for taking the time to join us and share, checking in with us, catching up, and it's so nice to see and learn that Woven has grown, like, since 2016, and then
Yeah.
now because of COVID, unexpected, but it's also refreshing to see that entrepreneurs like you, um, are looking after also communities, and are making sure also that their business survives during this time. So, siguro as a
Thank
last,
you.
like, why don't you invite them to support your campaign, and also if there are other ways on how they can reach you, or like know more about your brand, yeah, please let us know.
Yeah. So everyone who's here, thank you so much for tuning in. And for listening until now, all the way until 1 hour. um, I am here to invite everyone to check out our crowdfunding campaign. It's nutrition kits for artisan communities. It's on the Spark Project website, but also if you go to our Instagram, we have a link up on our bio. It's also on our Facebook. We want to invite you to make a conscious purchase, and to help communities that are in the peripheries, vulnerable communities at that, by providing nutrition kits for them so that they can ride out this crisis. And to be honest, we're at 50% already actually of the crowdfunding, but it doesn't stop there, because the more that you help us increase that, and even reach our target or beyond, the more that we'll be able to give volume to the content of our nutrition kits. So what we have now is like what we can provide, but more and more, if this keeps going on, if we keep getting your support, you'll be ensured that we will increase the volumes of the contents of the nutrition kit as it also grows, the target and the goal. So yeah.
Yeah, so just visit the sparkproject.com. You'll see there the ongoing Spark Bayanihan campaigns, and one of them is woven. So you'll see it, nutrition kits for artisan communities. You'll know it's a Spark Bayanihan campaign if it has that ribbon that has Spark Bayanihan. But yeah, thank you so much, Kylie, for joining us today, and
Thank
for spending
you.
the hour with us, and for everybody who watched until from the beginning to the end. Thank you for tuning in. Uh, our first ever live stream of Spark Conversations. I hope, yeah,
Yes, congrats.
wow. We hope that you found the conversation that we had this afternoon with Kylie insightful and meaningful. I hope you learned something new today. Don't forget to support their campaign at thesparkproject.com. By doing so, you not only help Woven, but you also help the help support the weaving communities that they look after during this time. So again, that's all for today. Thank you for spending your hour with us. Thank you, Kylie. Have a nice day and see you in our next Spark Conversations. Stay safe and healthy, guys. Bye.
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 Thank you so much.